All right, if you're just joining us, check in, tell us hello, post something in the comments, let us know you can hear us. Tell us where you're from. What's up, everybody? Yo.
I don't see it on YouTube.
Yeah, I got it on YouTube. It's there. Refresh. What's up, everybody? Welcome back to the channel. It is the Ref Room. I am Scott Smokin Silz. We are here live in Chicago. We do this every Wednesday starting at noon Central. I am joined by my co-host, Mr. Brad Baumruck. What's going on, my friend?
Not much. Good afternoon to you, since we're just past noon.
That's right. And we got lots to talk about today. So Brad and I have a number of things we want to discuss. And I guess we'll kick it off with, this is the last week of hockey for us officially, since we are in the process of the government shutdown, as we would call it, meaning you guys can skate and you can do skills, but you can't even have a scrimmage. What's your thoughts on that, Brad?
Well, I'm not happy about it because I like to referee and I like to be on the ice. And since I don't play men's league anymore, I'm not going to be on the ice too much, I don't think.
Yeah, I think I'm going to probably join a couple people for some rentals or whatever, just so I can keep skating. I mean, it's really disappointing because, we've had a number of tournaments here in Chicago, and have you heard any issues going on? I mean, we've had teams even from the hot spots, Colorado, California, Minnesota, Wisconsin, Missouri, And I haven't heard any issues whatsoever. And, I've had men's league going on for like 6 weeks. All the same guys are out there. I haven't heard a single guy go, "Oh, did you hear about so-and-so?" It's really confusing. I mean, I think, that we could at least be doing something. We've got teams leaving the state. There's a huge tournament, I guess, this weekend going to Minnesota, which is a hot spot. And I know even some of the referees, because of the number of games, have been invited to go up there and work that are from Illinois, which is, a little unusual. Normally we bring the referees in here because we've got all the big tournaments. But is this what we're going to see? Well, I mean, let's look at like AAA hockey. Are they going to go across the border and put refrigeration in somewhere so that they can skate every day? Or are they going to stay here?
I don't think so, Scott. A lot of the AAA clubs, especially in this area, had already anticipated starting play coming up in January of this year, or possibly a bit sooner. So I think they've planned for it. Maybe they're going to play a condensed season, or what their abilities are going to be. Because I don't think anybody knows, if you're watching the news, major football programs are canceling seasons. So we're talking a much larger market than our local hockey market, and it's canceling out. So I don't know what's going to happen. It's a depressing year. Let's put it that way.
It's pretty scary because, I mean, from an economic standpoint, they were talking that's like $80 to $120 million in business. I think it was Michigan that just the businesses around there will be affected to a tune of like $100 million during the course of the season from the home games not being there. And when you multiply that from market to market to market, it's incredible the amount of revenue that's going to be lost, and more hardship for, the bar owners that are already pretty much shut down, and restaurateurs and things of that nature, and all the other businesses. So, it's going to be a tough season. There's no doubt about it. And, I'm just kind of hoping that we will have some hockey. How long do you think this shutdown is going to go? I mean, realistically, what are you hearing, or anything? I mean, the parents talking about it, there's lawsuits, there's all kinds of craziness going on.
I honestly don't have a clue, Scott. All I know is if you watch the news, Sturgis is going on right now up in South Dakota.
Yeah.
So, and they see 250,000 people in a weekend. So,
yeah, all those 55-year-old men are going to come back and kill everybody.
it's gonna be something after that, because there's people that ride 20, 30 hours to get there, and over a couple days span, and gonna see if there's an uptick. If they can do it and not have an uptick that comes out in public eye, I think a lot of people are gonna say, well, why can't we do this in other places? So I don't know if it's the best idea. I don't know if it's a bad idea. I just know that it's going on, and
I mean, let's hope that the people, that went there were responsible, that didn't have any symptoms or whatever to take there to make it a bad situation. I think they had a really, really like no count as far as COVID went in that area, and I think that's why they allowed it to happen. And hopefully everybody that went out there and, did things smart. So we'll see. I mean, that's the first time we've seen something big besides a protest. And, I don't know if we have the protest numbers back on how bad we were affected by COVID, but, it is what it is. So anyway, we got a lot to talk about. The NHL is back. The Blackhawks, man, they rocked it out. They get to the next round. Saw the game last night, and, I saw almost all the game. At 4-1, I think I finally fell asleep. I was a little tired. But, overall, I'm happy that they're there. They're playing. It's definitely different. They don't have a crowd in the building. What's your thoughts on that, Brad?
You mean the no crowd part?
Yeah, I mean, there's nobody beating on the glass like an idiot. Come on.
It's a little off-putting, especially because they're piping in crowd noises. But the NHL kind of had a good idea there. If you've been watching any of the other series, is they're piping in the crowd music from the home team.
Yeah.
So it's like a home game. So
absolutely,
it's kind of interesting. It's a great concept, and I think it might help with when they have the outdoor games and you can't hear the crowd from now on. Maybe they can up the outdoor games a little bit, the creativity level.
Yeah.
But they've done some things that they're making it interesting. I mean, they're bringing in the national anthem singers. They're bringing in the on-air talent to talk, and it's been interesting. The Hawks, the Hawks made it through that Edmonton series, which I doubted they were going to make it through anyways.
I don't think anybody thought they'd get through that, to be honest with you. And, they not only did they survive, they came out looking great,
They did. And then they played Vegas last night, and they're going to have to rethink their game, I think, for game 2. And I'm not an expert, but...
Yeah, I'm not either, but, it just looked like the Hawks never had any control in that game. I mean... the first period was pretty good. I thought both teams played well defensively. Not a lot of offensive chances for anybody. Great defensive play. Good coverage from end to end. And then, the only time I ever really saw the Hawks controlling the puck and moving it around with any kind of pressure was during the power play. They didn't get anything, of course, but, just don't look like they have a game plan in terms of, like, creating some offense. The one goal they got, the shorty... it was a nice shot. Happy for him. Kept him in the game, 2-1. But it was over after that. I'm not sure Crawford had his best game. He let up a couple that I thought were a little questionable, in my opinion. But he's doing his job. He's a great goaltender, obviously. Should we have seen Subban last night? What do you think?
I don't know. That's up in the air. I'm not an NHL expert here, but
I'm not either. I don't claim to be, but I'm going to pretend to be one on TV right now.
Well, I know that I can't block half those shots. I'll put it that way. So I'm not even going to start with any of the goaltending or how the Hawks played. I'm just saying from a fan spec point.
Well, we have a first question, and it comes from Trace, and he wants to know what our thoughts are on the 8.5 period game. And, that's a great point, Trace, because that's something we were going to talk about today. And I know from a conditioning standpoint, think about that. That's like skating 3 NHL games, okay? So those refs that work the NHL, they're in great shape. But, man, staying focused for 3 straight games, as any of us know, whether you work a men's league game or you're working a tournament, and we do a lot of doubles. We don't always do a lot of triples, but, working 3 games is pretty challenging in itself just to stay mentally focused on the call you're going to make or the call you're not going to make. And for these guys to go out there and do that for almost 9 periods, that's pretty impressive. That's a long time to be focused.
Well, Scott, funny that you mentioned that. Last season, during AAA playoffs, my crew got to work the 9-period game between the Chicago Mission and, oh boy, forgive me for who they played. I just remember the Mission being there. But it was 9 periods, and like the players were saying and the coaches, except for Tortorella, because he didn't really want to talk, which we can get into, of course, Scott, because that's a hot-button issue.
Yeah.
But... all you're trying to do is survive, and getting that break and getting some hydration and possibly a banana or two, and going back out there is a lot. The referee, God pray with him, but he did the best he could, and he got off the ice literally 23 seconds before the one team scored because he was dog tired, and I felt bad for him, and he hurt himself, I think, physically. So. Yeah. For the referees in the NHL, them to be able to withstand that is just amazing. And last night during the commentary during that game, they actually did bring that up, and I forget who said it, but they said they saw a linesman after a 7-period game take his skate off and dump out pure water.
Oh, I don't doubt it. I mean.
So they gave him props on TV, so I was happy to see that because we do get forgotten along the way, but I don't think it's done intentionally. I think we're just there. So
yeah, were you working a 4-man in that, or was it a 3-man?
It was a 3 official system.
Yeah, being the monkey in the middle on that one it's tough. It's really tough to be going up and down. I mean, you got to start going blue line to blue line almost, but you got to get to that goal line. That's when you really need your partners to step up. I mean, in that situation, the linesmen really need to start going to the goal line on a regular basis for you so that you can watch play and not have to worry so much about the goal line, because that is going to be the biggest play, of course. But, you can maintain some sort of a standard and just work your way through it. It's a challenging thing. We worked some overtime games. I know I worked Central States a couple years ago, the final, and it was nerve-wracking. They went to overtime, and man, you don't want to be the guy that makes that call that's just going to put the team away if you don't need to make the call. I mean, at some point, my partner finally raised his hand, and I think I did too. It was like the second overtime or whatever. But, you just want those people to play. They want to, you don't want to be the one that controls the outcome of that game if you don't have to be.
Agreed. Yeah, let's get back to that overtime game. Did you see the no call that Mr. Tortorella is very upset about?
I did not get to see that, but let's start. Are you a Tortorella fan? Because I think that's going to. You are a Tortorella fan.
I am a Tortorella fan.
I am not. I am not a Tortorella fan. I am a guy that would not play for somebody like that. I watched him on that NHL when they had I think it was HBO had it or whatever. They had the series, and they do a great job with that. And by the way, you know who the announcer is for all those? Do you know who the voice is that's so good on those? It's the guy that's Ray Donovan. He has one of the best voices in the business for documentary narration. He's absolutely incredible, and he is the voice of that. And I'm sure a lot of guys don't know that, but that's who does the narration for all that stuff. He's amazing. But Tortorella he's a beast. I mean, probably if I was an owner or something, I'd be like, yeah, I like this guy. He's got passion. He's tough. But, man, I wouldn't want to be on the receiving end of that. I don't think I'd want to be the player playing for somebody like that. I think it's got to be a tough situation to be in. I don't know if he's different when he's not on camera, but when you see him, he's just, he's a pure beast. Not in a good way.
I think when he gets to the rink, that's pretty much how he is. I mean, that would be my take on it, because there are some coaches that I've dealt with over the years that are like that. Yeah. But once you leave, they're like totally different people. I like the intensity. I like the challenge of it. He's going to have me on my toes the entire game. Oh, is he going to say a lot of crazy things?
The whole season, the whole year, you're going to be on your toes. You're going to be afraid you're going to be packing your bags at any second. I probably would just keep my bag packed so that I could leave quickly and quietly when the time comes, because the time is going to come with that guy.
Well, I know some guys that have played, junior hockey up in Canada, and they inform me that they take the team photo at the end of the year. Because if they take it at the beginning of the year, nobody's left by the end of the year.
Nobody will be there.
That's the running joke. But I think he's an intense coach, and to referee somebody like that, I think it keeps you on your toes, and I think it keeps you thinking, and it keeps your mind sharp.
Yeah. I
think if you had everybody the same style, I don't think you'd keep as sharp as you normally do. So I enjoy it. I enjoy the challenge. I'm not saying somebody come out on the ice next week and challenge me, but
they will.
But I do.
You're asking for it. You're going to get it.
I know. So, but I just think his intensity is out there, and he did very well in his exit interview yesterday. Right off the bat,
he didn't beat anybody or throw a microphone.
Talk about the no call. So
what was the no call? Let's go ahead and explain it, because I didn't get to see it. Explain the no call for everybody.
I forget who picked off the Tampa Bay guy and was going down the ice, was ahead of Victor Hedman, and Hedman put on the afterburners and came up, and he got right next to him, and he took his left hand and he did put it on the small of his back. He didn't clutch him or grab him with it open, and he came in and bumped him and rocked him right into the net. So no call there. I think Tortorella was more upset too, because Tampa Bay was currently, Columbus was currently killing a penalty at that point too as well, and his guy gets a break on a shorty, and in his opinion, and the radio announcers and TV announcers, it was their opinion too until they went back and watched the replay.
Yeah.
So the referee got a lot of props, but if you watch him in the video, he unintentionally gets caught up in the play. If anybody watches it later, he's not in the play, but the pick comes, and he has to actually turn forward and skate forwards 3/4 of the way down the ice in order to catch up, because that's how fast they were going. So even the NHL guys get caught up every once in a while by plays that they're not expecting. So if you get caught up, don't be too hard on yourself, because it happens to the best of everybody.
Yeah, I saw an NHL ref almost in the middle of the ice, basically all but get knocked over. I mean, it was earlier in the season, but it happens. It happens to the best of us and the best of them, and they know where to be, and they know what to do, and they know how to handle just about every situation. But once in a while, there is that opportunity where you cannot respond the way you are supposed to according to the book. You do the best you can in that situation. But
survival mode.
Yeah, basically. Well, I'll tell you. So we've got NHL hockey back, which is great. I don't know if the Hawks are going much further than they are right now. We're going to have to see a new team out there for Game 2, obviously. Their game plan did not look too good the other night, or last night, I should say. So, I'm hoping that they can turn things around. They certainly have the talent. They got some great players on that team. One of the things I thought last night, and we were talking about the refs making these calls and having to go back and look at stuff. But, they had the call last night on the second goal, I believe, that Vegas scored. Second goal or third goal, I forget which one. But they had a really close offsides play. And they had to go show it from 3 or 4 different angles and slow it down. And guess what? The linesman made the right call. It's amazing that these guys in real time can make these types of calls. That is just, that's just so cool that they have that much skill and that much experience to be able to make a call in that situation, that when you've got cameras from every angle, you have to look at every angle to see, was that play good or bad? I mean, it's just, hats off to them. I just think that's so cool. And we see that even in the games that we do. And, you go back and you look at a replay or something on Live Barn or whatever the case may be. And, yeah, the guy got the call right. It's awesome to see. I love it. All right, we got a lot to talk about today. A couple things. One, if you're just joining us, thank you. We do this every Wednesday at noon Chicago time. Please hit the subscribe button, hit the notification button so you'll know when we come on. We do post the replays. You can check those out. We have some seminar updates, I guess. I mean, we now have seminar dates in case you haven't seen what's going on. We're registering through USA Hockey. So we are having a season, obviously. We do have our open book test. We have Safe Sport to take care of. We need to get the screening done because we are coming up close on September 1st. In the event we go back anytime soon, which I'm hoping will be the case, you will need to be screened before you can work. Normally, your credentials are good through the end of November, but because of the new screening process here in Illinois, you have to have it done by September 1st to work. Now, how long does it take to get done? Guys, you got to plan on a week. A week to get this done. It's not walk in there and 2 seconds later it's done. They're going to take 4 or 5 business days to get this back. So, get this done now. You've got a couple weeks to do it. Don't wait. It's a priority at least. I mean, you don't have to finish your open book test or your closed book test closed book not yet, obviously, but open book and Safe Sport and all that good stuff and the modules. But you do need to get that screening done. So if you haven't registered with USA Hockey, get that done so you can get your screening done. Brad, give us the dates, if you don't mind, for seminars coming up, and they're all going to be virtual. Tell us all about it.
Well, they're going to be virtual level 1s, 2s, and 3s. All the classrooms going to be online. 2s, 3s, and 4s this year, again, are going to be online. They have no ice, so they're lucky. Level 1s are going to be split into 2 nights during the week and then an ice session on the weekends. And that's about it. The dates are still fluid. We just added a couple, so if people are looking. So be ready. I think the important thing is once this all goes back into play and we can play, we're going to be playing. If they say Friday, I think people are going to have a game Saturday morning.
I believe that.
And the people that are ready are the people that are going to be able to work.
That's right.
So I think being prepared is the best idea at this point. Try not to be negative. I know some people are really worried that there's not going to be a season at all. I'm trying to be very optimistic right now. I think it's going to happen. I just think it's going to be a little delayed. So there's a lot of people that want to play, and I don't think they're going to be opposed to pushing the season into May or June if they have to, and having a shortened spring of maybe 4 or 5 weeks instead of 6 to 8. Yeah. So I just think being ready is the best idea. Once your seminar is over and your attendance has been submitted, you have 7 days to finish your closed book test for level 2s, 3s, and 4s. If you go beyond those 7 days, you will have to petition to get your test reopened. So it's imperative that after your seminar is complete, that you get online and take your test. So, because I don't know how strict they're going to be. They're normally pretty strict with us officials. So I think it's just a good idea to just get on the next day and take it. And then, like you said, the open book and the modules, they don't have to be done till their typical time. But the screening, and the closed book tests are absolutely imperative this season.
Yeah, and that is new because we have never taken the closed book test online, so it's going to be interesting in itself doing that. But you're only going to have 7 days, so it's a 3-hour. You can have up to 3 hours from the time you open your browser. So make sure you're doing this in an environment that's controlled for you, so that you can do this undisturbed. That you have, the necessary equipment handy. I mean, you've got good internet connection and everything else, so you're not losing anything. Because once you close out from that 3-hour window, you're done. So I'm sure they're going to have some issues with technology. I mean, it just happens. We live stream, and we have issues too.
It's the internet. My understanding, there's a countdown clock from when you take your test, when you start it, and it counts down from my understanding.
Like that?
So kind of like that. So, but I think it's all there to help you. If when I do my test, I would just close my countdown clock if I can, because I know that would panic me. That's outside of my environment. I'll admit that. But take your time and answer the questions as best of your ability. And I think a lot of people are going to enjoy it. There's a survey afterwards that goes to USA Hockey that you can take as well. And let them know what you think, because I don't know if this will be something we want to keep around or not, or have the option. So I think everybody's always looking for better options to train officials and coaches and all those type positions. So if they can do it better, I think they're gonna do it better. So let your voice be heard, like right in your congressman.
This could be the future. I mean, this may be the way we do things down the road, that we may be doing more things virtual and not have to go to a classroom situation, because there are costs involved in that for the organization to rent the rooms and put everything together. And, this is kind of a test for that sort of thing, and it's the future for everybody and the way things are done. So save your tests, guys. When you take your open book tests, print those questions. Keep them from year to year. I mean, a lot of that stuff gets recycled, or it's close where you can kind of, work with it. It's a great refresher during the course of the season to read through those. They always have some tough questions, and I think the open book test this year was actually fairly tough. I got a good score on it. I'm done with it, thank goodness. It's one portion done, and I got my safe sport done, and I've done my screening. I got to hit the modules. I understand there's a lot of them, so I'm looking forward to getting into that. But keep your stuff, guys. It's a great way to refresh yourself during the course of the season, and it makes for good conversations. Get together with a group of your referee buddies. Get 3 or 4 guys together in a room and go through your questions together. And, if everybody takes you can make one test for everybody and everybody takes it. They all have the same questions if you're a level 3, but you can get together and, discuss the test, discuss the questions. If one of you guys has a question on one of them, then you got 3 guys. You can go to the book. You can look at stuff and work together. And it's a really nice way of being social and taking the test. And it's a referee discussion. That's what the ref room is all about here. We like to talk hockey, and that's kind of the fun of it, right?
Or what we know about it. I mean,
yeah.
I'm not going to say we're experts here.
No, we don't claim to be. We're not affiliated with anybody. We're just a couple guys that love hockey, that are referees, and we like to chew the fat a little bit. So got a couple other things. We were talking about some technology. Last night, the goaltender from Vegas, our former Chicago goaltender, lost a skate blade, and there was some interesting conversation about that, because I've looked into possibly getting these blades that are interchangeable, because I see so many guys, even kids now, breaking blades on the ice. That never, ever, ever used to happen. But now you'll see like a 12-year-old kid with a broken skate blade, which just blows my mind. And so they've got these new replaceable holders that I'm guessing that Robin was using last night. And, he had some major problems. And I understand there was another goaltender that had to play like 5 minutes, a 5-minute run on like the tip of his toe because he had no skate blade. What do you think of this technology? And, are you going to get additional blades for your skates? Do you keep an extra pair? I mean, I always keep an extra pair of skates in the trunk of the car. It may not help me at the moment, but I could certainly run somebody out to the car to get them if I needed them.
So I've broken a skate blade twice on the ice. Once, luckily enough, I was at a junior game, and they had free blades sitting in the back, so I got a new blade out of it. But I also broke one during a midget major state game. and still had the referee with a broken skate blade, and then borrow somebody else's skates, which were two sizes too small for my game that was coming up 4 hours later. So I carry a pair of skates in my car, but I also have a pair of steel in my bag as well. So if I break, I'm covered. But I'm one of those people that I've been there, and I don't want to be like that again. And
yeah,
the thing with the blade falling out, I had a pair of Bauer skates many years ago, and I would walk through the lobby, and my blade would fall out. I'd pick it up, I'd stick it back in, I'd get on the ice, and skate around with it, no problems. Never had any problems except for walking on rubber. I walked on rubber, the blade fell out. So I don't know if it's just because you're out on the ice, but last night he was struggling with it. Every time his heel hit the back of the net, the holder let it go. Which I don't know if anybody's ever been there without a piece of steel in your blade and you stand up. It's like, oh, wow, whoa, okay. So
I could tell you I had the unfortunate mistake I made in Oak Park one year at a high school game coming out on the ice. I was all excited. Went charging out there. Left one of my soakers on. Oh, my gosh. I went down. I was seeing stars. I hit my knees so hard. I was so embarrassed, and I was in more pain than embarrassment, if you can imagine, and I had to get up. Fortunately, there weren't a lot of people in the stands at the time, and fortunately, I don't think that made it to YouTube. But let me tell you, that hurts, and it's embarrassing. So, anytime you don't have the blades, that brings me to another point. I mean, we were talking about, we want to do a show at one point of, what's in your referee hockey bag. Because a lot of the guys that have been doing this for a long time are very well prepared, and they come out with a lot of stuff. But, I'm curious, what do you keep in your pockets? We got ref pants that have pockets, and a lot of people be very surprised at what we carry with us or don't carry with us out there on the ice. What about you, Brad?
Well, in my left pocket is my pack of gum that I carry inside of a Ziploc bag so that it doesn't get gross the entire time. And then my right pocket's got an extra whistle because I'm right-handed, so if I ever need it, I'm going to have to get it out because I'll be likely wearing just the metal part on my hand, and it's got to be quick. My back pockets, I have a riot pad, which if anybody doesn't know what that is, about the size of a cell phone, flips open, you can write notes on it in case you have a riot. So in case all both benches clear and you need to make some notes because there's a lot going on during that. If you've never been on the ice sport as a referee, that's good. If you've been on the ice, I feel your pain because it's happened before to me. And then inside that riot pad, there's the index of the rule books. I think I went over this last week. I have shrunk those down, including the measurements of equipment, and I put them double-sided, and they're the same size. And I put them in my riot pad right before the game after I review them, depending on what league I'm working. And then the next thing is a tape measure. Because if you ever have to measure a stick blade, again, if you haven't had to do it, that's good. If you have, I feel your pain as well. Because nobody likes the outcome of that no matter what. Because somebody's getting a penalty. And then skate laces. Cut skate laces. And those are to repair the net if you need to.
Yeah.
I don't think I got anything else, but I got quite a bit. And then I always wear a pen around my neck on a lanyard.
Yeah, now I keep the pen that's on the lanyard in with my riot pad, so I'm a little different. The other thing that I carry that Brad probably doesn't carry, I like to carry a microfiber towel. I like to be able to wipe if I'm sweating bad, which I usually am. You got more hair on your head to keep the sweat up there, but the sweat rolls down in a big game, and I like to be able to keep the shield clean. So I keep that. Like you, I try to keep a lace or two. I keep those in my riot pad. I also keep maybe like $5 in my riot pad, believe it or not to pay off the coach or anything, but you never know when you need like a candy bar or you need a Gatorade or something like that, or a bottle of water, whatever the case may be. And, it's almost like an emergency situation, like you're in dire need of food. And I don't know about you guys, but there are times when like I need some calories. I just can't keep going if we've been out there for a long time or whatever. And, it's a good idea to have a couple bucks on you in any case, just for that reason. But I do keep a copy of like the optional calls you have. I keep that in my riot pad. I don't know why I do, because we shrink it down so small that once I put my contact lenses in, I can't see without a pair of readers at that point. Now I'd have to put readers on because I can see everything up close, but I can't see distant. But once I put the contacts in, it just reverses everything for me. So I probably have to ask somebody else to look at it anyway. The other thing, a lot of guys carry their cell phones out there to the ice or put them over on the in the penalty box, which is not a bad idea because, we do have the mobile app. And if you guys haven't downloaded, I'm sure everybody's talked about this, but the mobile app is really useful. It's basically the rule book broken up and easy to identify so that you can make the right call and get things done properly. If you do get into a situation that's very unusual, most of these test questions hit you up with the most unusual situations that you may only see once or twice in your refereeing career, but it never hurts to be prepared. So that's a good way. So I know they've always talked about being able to take the score sheet back to the locker room after if you have a situation like that. Take a look at everything, make sure you're doing it right before you sign the sheet because it is a legal document. So that's for the guys that are refereeing. I'm sure coaches aren't even aware of some of this stuff, and players certainly probably don't know about a lot of the stuff that we do and go through. And we're looking to have players on this show as much, and parents and coaches. So, please tell them about the show. We'd love to talk hockey further with them. I mean, this is a great forum when, typically we walk into the rink on a Saturday morning or a Sunday and somebody's like, hey, Wednesday night at the high school game, we had this situation. Can you elaborate on it or whatever? And that's what we end up doing. So this is a great forum to bring the questions because we have a lot of guys that are watching the show and would be happy to answer some of these questions as well. And we do have a couple of other comments here. Let's bring some stuff in. Let's see what TJ says. Let me adjust this so we can see it a little bit better. You can test out your modules and don't have to worry or watch any of the videos, maybe except for one. Well, that's really not the idea. I think guys, they've put those modules up for a reason. Yes, you can kind of fast forward through certain things, but if you do that, good luck when you actually get hit with one of those situations and you're not aware of how to handle it. So there's some really good teaching points up there. I recommend you guys actually do these modules and study them. Put the couple hours in that you need to do it right. It will come back and it will help you in the long run. So we encourage you guys to do it the right way. And that's all I have to say on that. So Joey Hedman says we're looking good, boys. Okay, we appreciate that, Joey.
Joey.
As you are always looking good, Joey. Joey's a top referee here in Chicago. He's been around for a long time, and we appreciate you checking in with us, Joey. Glad you're doing well.
He's a great hockey player, too.
Yeah.
He's a good hockey player. I'm not a great hockey player. He's a great hockey player.
We do have some guys. I mean, we've got some guys that can play that are referees. Some guys that have played like pro level hockey that have turned over to the dark side like us and enjoying it and doing it well. I mean, I'll tell you, I think it was 2 years ago, I was supervising state AAA games down at Mission games or whatever, and I looked at this guy's name, didn't recognize who it was that I was supervising that night, and went out to watch. I'm like, holy cow, who is this guy? I mean, just a brilliant skater. I was like, this guy's a level 1? Who is this guy? It was Sean Molina, okay? Sean played like pro hockey. What a skater, and now he's gotten involved with us, with a lot of the, with you and your department and training and everything else for referees. But, yeah, I mean, every year I'm blown away by somebody that has come out to start reffing and crossed over to the dark side with the rest of us, and they're just so talented, and they have so much to bring and offer the other guys, and it's great to see. I'd like to see more of the great players coming over to become referees.
Agreed. So, but going back to that, I don't refer to it as the dark side. I think the players and coaches do.
Right.
To me, I don't skate anymore, playing wise, because I was playing in men's league, and all of a sudden I got hit from behind and went headfirst into the boards. And the guy says to me, "Oh my, you're not the right guy."
Oh, sorry, I crushed the wrong guy.
I
was looking for my buddy. I was looking for my best friend to crush.
sorry. And I'm like, okay. And I'm like, men's league? I'm going to get paralyzed in men's league? Not going to happen.
Yeah.
So for me, I like to stay on the ice and get up and down the ice. I'm fortunate enough to understand the game to an extent that I'm blessed that they give me good games, and I work them and survive. And the one thing that I'll say is every 3 official or 4 official game that I still referee to this day after 21 years, the second I go out on the ice wearing the orange stripes, I look around and I go, oh, wow, they're trusting me with this again today.
Yeah.
Because if you really think about it, the cost to put on one hockey game is very, very expensive. Our cost is very small. So for that to be entrusted in you, it's a big weight on your shoulders. And I don't think referees should ever take that lightly, kind of like doing your modules. It's a good refresher.
Well, let's think about that.
Idea.
You bring up a very good point. Let's look at the cost of a hockey team out there. If you have a AAA team out there, 2 AAA teams, what do you think? $30,000 a year for the fall winter season with travel per kid?
I'd say 20
20 kids on that roster, so it's like $600,000, not counting the coach. We got 2 teams out there. We're now got $1.2 million. We've got probably $1,000 worth of ice time with the ice cuts and everything involved there, just to do one game that you may think is, oh, this game doesn't mean anything or it's going to be a blowout. But think about that, and we do that all day long. You know,
it's a ginormous cost, and that's like that's why I take seriously when people no-show as well. I know it doesn't seem like a big thing possibly in our lives, but again, let's say they don't play that game. Who absorbs that cost?
That's right.
The players and coaches do. And then not only that, that's an hour or 2 hours or however long the game is of skill development those players lose out on. Yeah. Because they're not going to play. They're not going to have a practice. They're going to go home.
Right.
So I take it seriously, and I can't believe still, well, I believe it, thank God, but that they allow me to oversee the games. And I take it as a privilege and an honor to go out there and do my best. That's why I work hard.
It is. And when the assigners trust you enough to put you on those games, it is. And, you know, you are making a commitment to do the job. And one of the things that a pet peeve for me is, you know, guys showing up very late to a game, right? You know, right at the start of the game or whatever. Now, I understand if you're coming from another rink and, you know, your game, you know, it's just tight on time. I totally understand that. You're showing up half dressed. I get it. But when you haven't been working and you show up 10 minutes before the game, I mean, I believe you should be there at least a half hour before, if not more, but at least a half hour before your start so that you can settle in and, you know, be prepared for the game and not have to rush and everything else. I mean, some guys can do it in 10 or 15, and I know guys can get dressed in 5 minutes. It takes me that long to put the contact lenses in, okay? Just to turn the socks inside out from the wash and get them ready to go. So, you know, I like to be prepared with that. But
I know we commented on it before, I think when Jimmy was on. Just a reminder for referees out there, courtesy. If you are running late from rink to rink, let your partner know.
Yeah.
Because the worst feeling is a coach comes in and goes, "Where's your partner?" Well, he's, you know, somewhere, or she's somewhere. I really don't know. And then you're trying to get the number and let them know. And it just creates an awkward situation. If you say, hey, they're on their way, they're caught in traffic, any coach, player, manager, they're going to say, oh, we understand that. Life happens.
It happens, man. There's an accident on the expressway. Things shut down. I mean, that does happen. And you know, it happens more than you actually think. I mean, we're in a very busy area, and rinks are spread out. Guys are moving, you know, a half hour between games, whatever the case may be. We have Zambonis at some of the rinks that you know, have a little struggle once in a while. I mean, it's just the nature of the beast. So I totally understand that. Got a couple other things I wanted to ask you about. And, you know, since we're studying for all the tests, all right, this is just a personal thing. What do you think the worst rule in hockey is? In your opinion, for you, what's the one rule you would like to change or don't like seeing?
Too many players on the ice. I think we're going from the USA standpoint here.
Yeah, absolutely.
I'm an old supporter still of the 10-foot rule. from being from the bench. I know it's kind of arbitrary, but I think when players are trying to make quick changes and they're at the upper levels and at the lower levels, I think that becomes a skill. It becomes the race inside the race, like in NASCAR where they refer to pit stops. Yeah. And I think it becomes a better skilled team that's better at changing lines is going to have an advantage. And I know that sounds like it's one small part of the game, but I think it's one rule that I'd like to change. And from all levels of hockey, I believe centerline offsides is a very missed rule, which if nobody knows what centerline offsides is.
The two-line pass from before?
The two-line pass, which you're allowed to pass the puck across two lines.
Just
you're
not.
Offsides if you're past the center line, passing it behind the blue line of your own zone.
See, no, I like the change that they made to that because I think it keeps the game moving. It's faster. It does allow you to stretch it out. You know, if you're working a three-man system, you probably don't want to see that. But I do want to go back to the line change thing because I don't think really guys get hammered on a too many men on the ice call unless the guy coming off the bench plays the puck. That's the only time you really see that call enforced. I mean, guys make some generous changes. Defensemen make some generous changes. I don't think they get hammered for that for the most part unless they got the sixth guy out and he's changing for a guy and he plays the puck. Do you call it any other way? I mean,
if it affects the game, I'm going to issue a penalty.
Well, if it affects the game, yeah. If there's going to be an advantage gain from that change, absolutely. But usually it's that sixth guy is picking up the puck when he shouldn't be doing it. So I think that kind of, makes for the penalty in that situation. But let's go back and look. A few years ago, the NHL tried something when they had their, early in the season, they used to do this thing where they'd try some new rules or whatever. And a few years ago, they actually put a crease in by the bench. And for you to be able to make that change, you had to be in the crease. If you were outside the crease, now you were too many men on the ice. I actually don't think that's a bad way of doing it. I mean, it keeps it fair for everybody. It takes the discretion away from the referee or a situation where maybe he's not paying attention to the changes as closely as he should be. But, this is like, okay, guys, if you're not in the crease, you got too many men on the ice. It's not a bad way of doing it. Obviously, they didn't keep it for the NHL, but maybe it's a way to teach the younger players how to change properly or when they should make that change, that the player is close enough to the bench to make the change. What's your thoughts?
I think we have enough lines on the ice as is. I don't think you can make a drill like so many of the other lines in order to skate down it, but I'm sure there's somebody very creative that possibly could.
Yeah.
I think once you start putting in lines and stuff, you're making it definitive, and you're now stating this is the way it's going to be. There's no interpretation, and I think that's possibly one of the reasons that they wouldn't hesitate to have that, because now you're saying, oh, well, you have to be inside here or that. Okay, what if 1 foot's in and 1 foot's out?
Well, I think it's like anything else. You just got to be touching, you got to be touching the area. I mean, I think that's a reasonable assumption, but doesn't mean it is. I mean, I doubt you'd have to have 2 feet inside the crease area. I think you just have to be touching the crease area. And, the NHL can put in like 4 camera angles to see if the guy was not touching the crease area, like the offside last night.
Well, they did try in the American League many years ago where they increased the size of the blue line, where it was 2 feet wide.
Oh.
And they played like the whole preseason with it. So, I mean, I don't know. I think the game is it's pretty well set up right now. I think if we keep tinkering with it, it just makes it more complicated. But I think it's on a good way. I know they wanted to increase the offense. That's why they got rid of the center line offsides. But it also, if you look at the data, it's decreased breakaways because now defensemen know that there's no cover there by the center line. They'd be like, he's past the center line. He's offsides. The heck with him.
Yeah.
So they leave him out there, but then the guy would come back in and sneak in and he'd catch a puck. And they'd be gone. So it's a double-edged sword in my book. I think that rule should be back.
Yeah.
That's just me.
All right,
I'm an old school guy.
So I got one I'm going to put out there, and I had to think about this rule at first because I thought, oh, there's no way they can do this. This has to be illegal. And then I asked one of our referees that worked in the Olympic Games about that, and they said, no, it is legal. And I was like, how can that be? And the rule I'm referring to, it's not really a rule. I don't even know if you're going to find it in the rule book. But seeing these goalies out there with no socks on, that are out there with bare legs underneath their pads, I was very shocked to find out that that is legal, that they can do that. Because, you know, all equipment has to be covered. You know, you can't have your shin pad, you know, your sock on and your sock is falling down and your knee from your shin pad is sticking out, or you've tucked your jersey and your elbow pad is out and you can see the elbow pad. The equipment has to be covered. I'm shocked that they would let the goalies go out there in bare skin, knowing that they've got players that are in the crease area, skates coming in there, sticks going in there, whatever the case may be, legal or not, it happens. Okay, so yes, you can make the call that if there's a situation, but I'm just surprised that they don't say that's a layer of protection that goalie should probably have socks on. And I'm going to go a step further because last night I was watching the Hawks game, and I think Crawford had like red socks on with these pads. I mean, it looks stupid, guys. I'm sorry. I think the goalie should dress like the rest of the team as far as the socks go and what they wear, or at least, you know, go black or something like that underneath the pads. But I don't get this bare leg thing. Why do you want to be out there in the cold with skate blades and everything else out there, not covered, not any protection whatsoever? What do you think?
Well, I think it falls underneath most equipment is recommended. In the rule books, it's recommended. You have to be covered from head to toe. There's only a few pieces of required equipment, and I think that's where it kind of slides by. If I had a kid that was a goalie, I would make them wear something. They could wear leopards, you know.
Yes, I mean, even sweatpants or something, I get it, but, you know, I just feel like they should be covered. I don't think they should be out there in bare legs like some of these guys.
Well, I think that comes from, you know, just a side of wisdom. You know,
and it looks, it's not a good look, okay? It's just not a good look for some of these guys. I mean, let's be honest. I'm not feeling it.
It's like the players that have the zippers inside their pants.
Yeah.
On the inside of their legs, and they unzip them.
But
if I'm repping, I go by them
guess
and say,
what?
hey,
those have to be zipped. You have to wear the equipment the way it was intended to be worn or designed. So that is actually illegal. And is it an advantage for them? Yes. And is it a safety issue? Yes. It's an advantage because they've got less restricting their leg movement, and they risk getting hurt because of that. Same reason I'm saying the goalie should be covered. If the guy's got his leg exposed, chances are maybe he's got shorts on or something underneath it, but he's probably got exposed skin between that and the sock, and it's a safety issue. So, all right. Well, that's a good point, too. I like that.
Unfortunately, it's how it's written that it's recommended. It's not required. So that's how it falls in there because, you know, it's recommended that you wear an athletic supporter as well. And there are individuals that don't, but you're not going to go check for it.
No,
so it's kind of those.
No, you're certainly not.
Yeah, if you see it, you know, okay, we're going to say something. If not, I mean, I agree with the safety aspect. Like I said, if it was my kids, I'd be piping up, or even if it was a friend's kid, I'd be like, why would you do that? Sometimes people just don't think about it until they go, oops.
Yeah.
So I get where you're coming from. When I played, a guy that I know got stepped on in the neck playing as a goalie. One of the moms was a EMT nurse or EMT paramedic.
Probably saved his life.
She traked him with a piece of hose that they had in the rink.
Wow.
So,
I mean, it's amazing. I've been on the ice. I had a guy on one of my men's league teams. I was at Johnny's West, and we had a guy go down, and we were between periods. We were between the second and third period, and we had 7 or 8 doctors playing on our team. We had a dentist refereeing. We had another doctor on the other team. And we were like, hey, let's get started here. You know, we want to get moving. He goes, well, your guy's over there. He's still stretching. It wasn't stretching. It had a heart attack. Oh. So everybody jumped into action. One of the guys that's an ER doctor, his wife or his girlfriend was in the building. She's an RN. She went and got the defibrillators, and the dermatologist doctor, not even the ER doctors, the dermatologist doctor is the one that went into full-fledged effect and worked on this guy, and they saved him, man. I mean, they saved his life, because we've had a lot of guys that have dropped from that sort of thing, and they saved him, and the fire department showed up, and they basically defaulted to the doctors. They're like, you guys have done a great job. You take care of whatever you need to do. And they got him to the hospital, and he survived. He ended up having like a double stint or whatever the case may be. And, he's alive to this day, there but for the grace of God with the hockey community and the guys that you're playing with. It's amazing the level of talent and skilled people that we have playing even in the men's league in hockey. Hockey's just a great sport that way, guys. It's such a great community. And for those of you, I know the refs all know this and the players, you're going to meet so many great guys and guys that will take care of you and give you the shirt off their back, and you become lifelong friends. And that's one of the beauties of hockey that I think, we're missing right now when we're on a shutdown like this. It's a real shame. There's a lot more to hockey than just getting out there and, beating on each other and chasing a puck. And that's something that life skills and things of that nature that players are not getting to experience right now because of this shutdown. And I'm on the record as I don't think it's totally necessary. So I'll go on the record. And again, that's my personal opinion, nobody else's. I think if people are doing things smart and doing things the right way, which I think we've seen over the last 6 weeks, that this was not necessary. All right, so now let's come to a couple of the great rules. We're going to finish up on this. This will be the last thing we talk about today. But before we go, we remind you we do this every week at noon, Chicago time. You can get the replays. Please subscribe, hit the notifications button. Do both. We'd appreciate it. I believe next week we are going to be joined by the legendary Jack Reslowski. We hope. So. We hope. I will see him for the referee golf outing and confirm that with him. So I'm hoping he's going to do it. I mean, he's been our referee in chief. He's on the AHI committee board. He's in the Hockey Hall of Fame. I mean, his resume goes from floor to ceiling, and then it just keeps going because he's a great guy and he's a lot of fun. And I know we're going to have a great conversation. So look for that. We're hoping that will happen next week. If not, Brad and I will be here to talk to one another.
We'll be here.
So you can join us. But all right, so I'm going to throw out a rule that I like, and I'll tell you why I like this rule. I've learned this in men's league, but I actually used this once, and I only have used it once. I was being a bit of a brat at the time with a coach that had given me a hard time the entire game, thought he knew every rule there was to know, second guessed and questioned everything throughout the entire game. And finally, I got to give him a little payback at the end of the game because he requested a timeout. But his team had already lined up. I don't have to give you the timeout. Now that your team was all lined up, you don't get the timeout. Had you been a nice guy all game, you'd have gotten the timeout, no questions asked. But you knew every rule in the book, so why didn't you know that one? I guess he knows it now. But that's one of the rules that I like, that I thought I'd throw out there that a lot of people don't know about. And I've had that used against me many times by men's league referees late at night. And that's where I learned that. That's how I acquired that one. But you have one that you really like, Brad?
I don't have one that I really like, but I do have an amusing story.
I like it.
Since you were on the topic of coaches knowing the entire rule book forwards and backwards, I was lining a game and referees skating up and down the ice, and the coach is screaming at him, "I want to know what rule number that is." Oh, you called it. What? He's yelling at him. He's like, "What is up with him?" I go, "Tell him 641 Part B."
Yep, I know that rule.
And he goes, "What?" I go, "Just tell him it." He told him, yep. As he skates by again, he's like, "How'd you know what that's at?" And I go, "Rule book ends at 640.
It's whatever the referee says.
Yeah, but lo and behold, guess who has a rule book on the bench?
Oh, the coach, of course.
The coach. So he's got it out, and as he flips through it, he looks down at it, and it must have hit him like a brick wall, that it ended at 640. and we just told him 641 Part B.
Yep.
I mean, you'd have to know that I
yeah.
knew the rule and the book ended at 640. Yeah. I don't know what rule number it is. I mean, there's some that you know, like checking from behind and fighting. You know, those are.
I don't remember. I don't remember. I know 601 because they drill that through our minds forever.
601 is my favorite rule. It's the only rule in the entire book that's about me as the referee.
Right.
I mean, it covers a variance of things, but it's abuse of the officials. I mean, it's the first rule in the playing rules. Yep. So, you know, one other quick thing that we'll cover real quick, if anybody's ever looked at the rule book, it's designed in a way to explain itself. So, section 1 is the rink. Without a rink, you can't have a game, right?
Right.
Okay. Section 2, players. If you don't have a rink and you don't have players, you don't need anything else.
Right.
Okay. So teams, right? Section 3, what are they going to use on the ice? Equipment, right? Okay. Section 4, you got players, equipment, and a rink. Now you need some penalties, right? That's Section 4, the penalties. Minors, majors, 10-minute misconducts. Section 5, the officials. Who's going to enforce those penalties? So you got a rink, players, equipment, rules, and the referees are going to enforce all this. Section 6, finally, what are the actual rules of the game? So if anybody ever wants to look at how the rule book is designed, I'm not the genius that designed it that way. I'm also not the genius that interpreted that. Someone told me that many
awesome.
years ago.
I've never had it interpreted to me like that. I really like that. And you know what? When you're taking the test and you're trying to study for it, that's a great way to be prepared to find what you need to find.
Yep. It was a tip given to me many years ago, and if you really look at it, someone with a much higher education than myself decided that plan, and it really makes a lot of sense if you really look at it. So, but I got nothing else this week, Scott. So.
All right. Well, we're going to wrap it up. We thank everybody for joining us. If there's any questions out there before we go as we're wrapping up, we'll try to get to them. Feel free to type them in the comments. I know we've got some people out there watching. If not, again, we do this every Wednesday at noon. Look forward to having Mr. Raslowski join us next week, hopefully. We're hoping for that. And, Brad, have a great week. Guys, stay safe out there. Let's hope we get through this pretty quickly and that we can get back to hockey. I'll probably be out there playing in a rental game or something like that. That'll be interesting. With a men's rental, are they going to tell them you can't have a scrimmage? I just paid for the ice. Are they going to let you have a scrimmage at 11 o'clock at night? Is somebody going to come in from the rink and go, oh, put the pucks away. You can't do that. You can only skate skills.
I think that falls underneath skills. I don't know. I don't have the definition. I'm not the guy that wrote it. So
I know. Things that make you go, All right, that's what we talk about here every week. We will see you guys next week. Brad, pleasure as always. Everybody, thanks for joining us. Oh, wait, what do we got? Brian says, great job, guys. I'll even put that one up so everybody can see it. Thank you for that. We appreciate it. We're glad you could join us. Brian, we got a bunch of guys on. So we'll hopefully see all you guys next week, if not sooner, at the rink. Again, thanks for joining us, everybody. Have a great week. It's the Ref Room with Scott and Brad. Until next time, see you.